want to talk to you guys today, a short message about having permission to be happy and having permission to be positive. It's come up a few times in my awareness this week. You see, we have this culture in the outside world, because we're on the inside here. We have this, there's a culture in collective society that asks us to be negative, that essentially it even starts when we're kids, right? The cool kids are mean. The cool kids are rude. And anybody who's nice or positive is a nerd, you know? And it being positive or being happy is considered nerdy when we're little. Sometimes when we become adults, then it's like if a person is happy or even positive, it's like, well, there's a crutch. There's this belief that we're all kind of lured into, that being unhappy and seeing all of the negativity means you're smarter than everyone else. You're the one who really gets what's going on. And it's all bullshit, and I know it, and I can point it out. You get what I'm talking about? And even if that isn't something that you've personally adopted, that you can tell you're not the coolest kid who's the most negative one, it still makes us feel like we are not allowed to be positive. And it trickles down not into, so sure, that's how we behave in public now and around other people, but it also seeps into our self-speak. Of course it does. If what we're saying out in the world and how we're presenting ourselves out in collective groups and collections of groups in society is, I mean, that's more manifested than what's going on in the thoughtscape. You know, the thoughtscape is more subtle. So in order for it to be manifested, it has to be more subtle first. So of course it's going on in our minds, whether our conscious or unconscious thoughts, beliefs, and feelings. So let's stop that, right? And the way that we stop that is both internally and also externally. And the way that it works externally, so that people don't reject you and just shun you because you're positive or happy, is to occupy it entirely and to do it with compassion. You see, compassion, as Archangel Ariel said through me over my show last week, compassion is the portal to freedom. It really is. So we offer our compassion to people. We understand where they are. You see, rather than rejecting them because they're under this social hypnosis of being negative, have compassion for them because we have been there and still do. We still are there a lot of the time, or some of the time, if not. So there's absolutely no reason, we have no right to judge. And of course, we know that judging is separation consciousness. It's not unity consciousness, and it's not healing, and it's not source energy, and it's not going to make this place better. It's not going to make us better. It's not enlightened. And so we can, again, as I channeled from Ariel this past show that I did, we can rebuke as if we're rebuking a demon or an evil spirit, because indeed it is. We can rebuke judgment, blame, shame, regret the moment that it approaches our thoughts or our experience. But the way we do it with others, and actually the way we do it with ourselves, is through that portal of compassion. So we meet others, we meet ourselves where we are, and we love ourselves up to the positive perspective, because there are infinite perspectives at any particular time. And it's okay that we do occupy sometimes the contrasting one, the dark one, the negative one. That's just what we're always going to do. I did it this morning. I was spinning this morning, and with my husband, and I was spinning with him. And then an hour and a half later, 90 minutes later, everything that I was spinning about just worked out beautifully. And my husband came into the room. We hadn't talked since I was spinning. And I said, I don't know what my problem is. Everything always works out. And he goes, I know. I do that too. And I hadn't even told him how everything had been working out. But so it's okay. Again, it's like driving a bus. We just generally, or driving a car, we're generally steering with the wheel of compassion for ourselves, for others, and positivity, seeing the positive angle and assuming that the universe is conspiring for our success and our abundance, being in abundance mindset instead of lack mindset, the abundance matrix of beliefs, and conditioning ourselves and conditioning others by our presence and our frequency to be in the abundance matrix of beliefs. That's what we do generally. And we slip and we backslide and we veer a little bit out of the perfect straight line of the lane. That's okay. We're still steering. We still have the confidence in steering that car to the goal of unity, of positivity, of happiness. And, and we also can't get there falsely. And this is something I think that people either do what we call the spiritual bypassing, where you take a spiritual concept or something that is like, just be positive, where you're kind of putting a coat of paint on something that's messed up. We're not talking about false positivity either. We're talking about, again, we start with compassion and loving ourselves into being able to see the positive perspective. Expect the positive outcome. Just be in the expectation of it. But we have to love ourselves through it first, and we have to love others to help them, to be able to assist them. We give them compassion, meet them where they are, and love them through it and love them to it. But it has to start with the belief, the placing our awareness upon the fact that we have permission to be positive, and we have permission to occupy the expectation of happiness and abundance.